New listings, price changes, and sales week over week have dropped from the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. Find out how this is going to affect buyers and sellers right now on your Monday Market Monitor. Welcome back again, friends, to your Monday Market Monitor for the week of November 7th to November 13th, 2022. Yeah, I make these videos weekly to keep you informed about what's happening in the market. So if you find these of value, of course, do me a favor, thumbs up on this, and of course, hit the subscribe button so that you can stay in the know when it comes to everything that has to do with real estate. So let's dive into last week's numbers, because if you are actually thinking of buying or selling right now, you're going to want to listen up. We're going to start by diving into the new listings first. Last week, we saw only 701 new listings come to the market, which is more than 150 off the previous week's numbers. Well, should we be surprised about this at all? Well, in my opinion, not really. See, we just came off the long weekend. Everyone's feeling a little relaxed. And if you've been following my videos for a couple of months, you'll know that whenever we hit the long weekend numbers, they just tend to lower because people take that extra day off, they go out of town, and they generally just check out and don't do things related to real estate. Now, while we shouldn't be surprised by that number, as we move towards the holidays, new listings will naturally decrease. So for sellers, this could be a really good time to list because you have less competition. But for buyers, not so great news if there's no new listings that are coming to the market for you to look at. All right, on to the number of listings that have expired or come to the end of their term. This past week saw 89 listings expire. And of course, that number is way down from the previous week of 374, but that's simply because most contracts end at the end of the month, so this number for us is unremarkable. However, when it comes to price changes that we saw last week, the numbers get a little bit more interesting. So as I mentioned, there is typically less activity headed into the holiday season, so a pullback in the number of price change numbers is not entirely unfathomable because there's less contracts being written. But it also looks like what we're starting to see is that sellers are starting to dig their heels in a little bit and are less receptive to the price change. And in some cases, they're just pulling their properties off the market and not relisting. Again, this is not great news for buyers because they're actually benefiting right now from the additional competition that's on the market. Now for last week's sales. Last week we posted 327 sales. Now, while that number is a little bit on the lower side, and it does seem a little bit lower, keep in mind we just came off that long weekend, so we typically see sales drop around the long weekends. Having said that, again, I expect that this number, of course, is going to slow in the following weeks as we head up to the holidays. But a number that has been fluctuating and has jumped back up this past week is the median DOM, or the days on market. For the home sellers out there, it is now taking 19 days to get a successful sale. The previous week was 13. So we are going to keep a watch here because this number tells us tells sellers the speed at which the market is moving for well-priced and well-marketed homes. All right, let's talk about the percentage of homes that sold at or above the list price. I told you last week that the 11-week average for this number was sitting at 22.2%, and this week we've dropped well below that to 16%. What still has me scratching my head is that it took so long, like 12 weeks, for this number to drop below 19%. So now we can start to see that slowdown in the strength of the market, which is actually good news again for buyers who are looking to negotiate deals, and we like negotiating. However, what again is going to be a little bit of a challenge for buyers is the fact that of the 327 sales, 55% were under $1 million. So still a lot of entry-level buyers out there to compete with. And the proof of that is really in the pudding, as they say. Since last week, 233 of the 327 sales, that is to say, 71% of them were townhomes and condos. So again, if you're a buyer in the townhome and condo space, especially under $1 million, then you need to be prepared to make moves literally as properties come on the market because they are moving fast. And as I've said it before, sellers with entry-level properties, this is still the right time to sell. You've got a great buyer pool and things are still on your side. Well, I'm not sure if it's for you, but if you want to have a more in-depth conversation about the Vancouver real estate market and how these stats will affect your fall home sale or your fall home purchase, then reach out for some expert advice. Thank you so much for tuning into your Monday Market Monitor, and we will see you in the next video.